Welcome to the module on stress management. Today we will be discussing about how to manage the stress using different methods. So to start with, what is stress all about? Stress is one's mind and body's response or reaction to a real or imaginary threat, event or a change. The threat, event or change are commonly called as stressors. Stressors can be of two types. One is the internal stressors and the second one is external stressors. When we say internal stressors, that is change of thoughts, change of beliefs, change in attitude of the people, all comes under the category of internal stressors. Loss, damage to the property, tragedies, change in work environment, all concern related to the external stressors, which ultimately all of them leads to a development of stress in human brain. So the level of stress are generally two types. One is eustress or positive stress, and the second is distress or negative stress. Eustress or positive stress occurs when your level of stress is high enough to motivate you to move into actions to get things accomplished. Distress or negative stress occurs when your level of stress is either too high or too low and your body or mind begins to respond negatively to the stressors. Stages of stress can be elaborated as alarm stage, exhaustion stage or the resistance stage. Each one of these will be dealt in detail in the subsequent slides. Alarm stage: as you begin to experience a stressful event or perceive something to be stressful, psychological changes occur in your body. This experience or perception disrupts your body's normal balance, and immediately your body begins to respond to the stressors as effectively as possible. Some of the examples of alarm stage are a cardiac related issues, which has a direct impact on increased heart rate. Respiratory issues will lead to increased respirations, and any skin related issues or problems will have a decreased temperature. So all these are basically an examples and will lead you to understand that you are exposed to stress. Resistance stage is the stage. During this stage, the body tries to cope or adapt to the stressors by beginning a process of repairing any damage the stressors has caused. Generally, our friends, families, or co-workers may notice the changes in you before you do so. Therefore, it is important to examine their feedbacks to make sure you do not reach the overload or the maximum stress of your capabilities. Some examples of resistance stage, if you see, there are basically divided into three types. One is the behavior indicator, which indicates that lack of enthusiasm for family, school, work, or life in general. A withdrawal, a complete withdrawal from all the activities, change in eating habits, insomnia, hypersomnia, anger, and fatigue comes under the behavior indicators. If you see the cognitive indicators, that is poor problem solving approach, like you might not be able to think in the right direction to get a solution particular. Confusion, nightmares, hypervigilance. Some examples of resistance stage. The third indicator is emotional indicator, which includes tearfulness, fear, anxiety, panic, guilt, agitation, depression, and overwhelmed. So these are all the indicators showing the emotional indicators, which are basically a lead to your resistance stage of the stressors. When you come to exhaustion stage, during this stage, the stressor is not being managed effectively and the body and mind are not able to repair the damage. Some examples of exhaustion stage, if you see a digestive disorders, the withdrawal, a complete withdrawal from all the activities, insomnia, headaches, tension, and loss of temper are all comes under the category of exhaustion stage. So how do we rate the stress levels of human bodies? A rating scale was developed by Gaetano DA in his books called Controlling Stress and Tension, the third edition, which states that a set of questions or standard rating parameters were set and they are being used to calculate the stress level of the individuals based on the conditions they are actually exposed to at that particular situation. So for example, student stress rating scales, if you see, the following are events that occur in the life of a college student. So you have the option to place a check in the left hand columns for each of those events that has happened to you during the last 12 months. Like for example, death of a close family member, if it happened in your areas, you can tick that. If you are sentenced to a jail term, a final year or a first year college student, several personal illness or injury, marriage proposals, any interpersonal problems, financial difficulties, death of a close friend, all these parameters are rated and being assigned with some points. So what is being done is from the set of the parameters which is being given in this particular table, you have to choose the one which is more relevant in your lifestyle, like outstanding personal achievements, failure in some course of time, final exams in approaching close by, increased or decreased dating areas, changes in the working conditions, changes in major work areas, change in your sleeping habits corresponding to 18 points, several day vacations maybe corresponding to 15 points, family reunion 15 points, change in recreational activities 15 points. So what is being done is out of say 30 parameters, if you have been exposed to 5 parameters or 10 parameters, then those 10 parameters corresponding to those 10 parameters, the values associated with those parameters are being added up, and then it has been seen what is the score you have achieved. Suppose like if your score is 300, what is being told is if it is less than 150 points, then you are relatively low stress level in relation to your life events. If you are able to score a point between 150 to 300 points, that means you are in the borderline range. And if the value scored by you is more than 300 points, that means the stress level is very high and you need to take care of your health, mental as well as physical, in order to control the stresses. So how do I control my stress or distress relief strategies are feeling good about yourself can be an effective buffer against stress. Eliminate unnecessary worries. Most worries are either passed on to us by another or conjured up in our imaginations. So what is best being done is get some physical help, get some mental help. So as far as physical is concerned, relax your neck and shoulders, take a stretch, go for a massage or do some exercises. This will help you to get you physically fit. To become a mental fit position, you need to start counting whenever you are stressed. You can count 0 to 10, count your thoughts, you can fantasize. These are the different ways in which you will be able to control your mental health. Perform self-maintenance, and if required, you can talk to your counselors also. Then the next is get spiritual support. You can go for meditation, you can pray, or you can remember your purpose of life, what for you are here. Use your body and mind together. Take a break, get hug therapy, try progressive relaxations, try yoga, try aromatherapy or laughing therapy. All these will help you to build your status of life more healthy in both mental as well as physical status. Develop your new skills if at all possible. Prioritize your daily tasks. Learn something new so that you will be able to spend most of your time in understanding the new things, or else practice a hobby that you have never been able to do that, maybe you are not in a position to utilize your time to develop your hobbies. In today's scenario of COVID-19, which is one of the key factors of how the stresses are being developed on individuals, is reflecting in this particular module. Looking at the current scenario of COVID-19 pandemic, we are not sure about what the virus is exactly, and do we have any medicines to cure these COVID-19 viruses as such, and the answer is no. So this is basically creating a part of the internal stresses, because it is directly dealing with your thoughts, your views, like what will be the end result of this COVID-19 pandemic, how to live with it, what are the changes one has to make, and so on and so forth. So the internal stresses which we talked about till now are being reflected directly due to the pandemic of COVID-19 cases. And looking at the external impact of COVID-19, like if at all we have to start maintaining the distancing between the two, because it is understood that these viruses move as aerosols move in air. The bigger particles will travel to a lesser distance, and the lighter particles will move to a farther distance, and it has a tendency to be live on the surface of on the surface where it falls, like it may be a steel, it may be a cotton, or it may be any other surface, but the life of these viruses are different for different surfaces. It can resist to the different temperature ranges and so on. And the trade impact of this COVID-19 pandemic, if you see, there is a huge impact on cost as far as various states are concerned, like starting from the European Union, United States, Japan, and India. India is almost 348 million rupees, US million, in the 348 USD in terms of millions is getting impacted due to this COVID-19 cases. So these are basically the key factors which are developing a stress on the human life in terms of internal as well as both external. So how to deal with such type of internal or external is a matter of challenge, and we are trying to work out with that stress levels and try to live a normal life as we used to be in before the start of this pandemic COVID-19 cases. Are we able to manage the stresses? What to do? How to do our routine jobs? What are the things which needs to be changed? How to stop the spread of this COVID-19? There are n number of questions which are troubling our mind and thereby generating a huge internal stress on each mind. And in terms of these stresses management, how to manage these stresses, people are running around to get the solution, like how to manage the things without actually doing it. As far as the official works are concerned, somehow one can manage, but the physical activities one has to complete. Like if there is a production unit, you have to do the production of a particular item, then how to do those production of units without impacting much on the spread of the COVID-19. What are the precautions one has to take as far as the working is concerned? So these are some of the thoughts which are troubling today for each one, each individual, thereby developing light, moderate, or severe stress levels, depending upon capacity of the individuals, how they resist or how they manage their stress levels. Prima facie, it is understood that there is a need of physical distancing one has to maintain if at all they want to contain the spread of this COVID-19 viruses. So the things which they were doing earlier, like conferences, meetings, interviews, project reviews, and audits, those things are generally being carried out as a group of people or in a public gathering, and getting in contact with individuals in order to complete these processes. Now all these processes are being converted to a virtual platform in a very legitimate way, like the conferences are now being carried away by the webinars. The new name of conference has become the webinar now. Now people are meeting globally at a particular time on a set of softwares, and they try to communicate with each other on a global platform or with a virtual platform on a more effectively than they are supposed to be on physical conferences. Similarly, the meetings are being organized on using different tools like Zoom softwares, or there are a number of multiple software like Teams. You have Microsoft Teams Viewer, which is also equally good in conducting the meetings. In fact, people have started taking the interviews also on a virtual platform using Skype or some other WhatsApp or some other like virtual platforms, where you need not to get in touch with the people physically. People need not travel to the locations, and sitting at their convenient place, they can attend the interviews and they can be selected or rejected depending upon their capacity or competency levels. Similarly, the project reviews are also started being carried out on a virtual platform, and in fact the audits, like both internal as well as external audits also, people have started conducting on virtual platforms. We are showing the change in working style of the individuals, which was supposed to be on a one-to-one basis, are now being converted completely from the real world to the virtual world. Ultimately, because of the pandemic of COVID-19 and because of the rule of physical distancing, because of the worry of physical connection, the things, all the things have been converted into a virtual contact, just like a virtual platform where you have a changed working style. Now no more you require a person to visit somebody's office and look for the proposals and opportunities. All are available virtually on the virtual platforms, and you can very well analyze the things, visualize the things, and then you can take proper action in order to get the things right at the first time. You have a changed behavior because of this, because now earlier you prefer to visit people, you prefer to see physically so that you can judge the feelings, and based on that you can decide whether what the person is thinking as far as the proposals are concerned. But now everything is being online and everything is being done on the virtual platform, which leads to the improvement of reading habits and understanding the things which are there in written. So more or less the things are getting more black and white and transparent rather than just a talk, which was earlier used to happen most of the time. And then you have a changed lifestyle because you don't know when to work and when to stop, because 24/7 you are on job, you are doing your personal job, you are doing your official job, and at the same time you are enjoying the time also. So you have a changed timelines. You start your office at your own time, basically as quicker as possible, no need of any worries, and then a global connection, which is basically the result or the output of this pandemic, that one has got the advantage as a society that now we are self-sufficient to make sure that anything can be done on a virtual platform, which was really very difficult to do when we are actually there in the office and we try to do things on a virtual platform. Coming to the benefits of working from home, if you see, work from home has a number of benefits. It reduces the stress level. It gives you the flexibility of working hours. It gives you the flexibility of timings. You are becoming more productive because you are not losing time on traffic, especially in Mumbai, where you are almost spending 3 hours in a day to reach office and come back. At the same time, you are not able to spend time with your family, whereas due to this scenario, because due to this changed cultural scenario, changed habit of people, changed system of working, you have your 100% time given to your family. At the same time, you are able to give 100% to your organization also. So once being done on a virtual platform, then the second thing what is being required is to make a balance between the physical and the mental health as far as working from home or maintaining yourself quarantine or less exposed to the outside world is concerned. So in that way, for physical help, what is required is you should be associated with a daily break time, a relaxation for neck and shoulders at set frequencies. You need to be very disciplined in your life. You are not able to take a massage, but of course you can do an exercise at your home. Especially Surya Namaskar can be a best example in order to spend, because this 12 cycles of Surya Namaskar will hardly take you 3 to 4 minutes, and 10 cycles of the Surya Namaskar is hardly consuming you half an hour, but it will give you more, it will help you to create your metabolism and the physical and the mental health to its topmost level. You will be able to take decisions faster, and you are more relaxed as far as sitting at one place is concerned. And coming to the development of a mental health, again, the same old rule, like you can count from 0 to 10, you can control your thoughts, you can fantasize, you can congratulate yourself, you should enjoy the time, and you should not forget to celebrate the occasions, whatever comes in between. You have to perform your self-maintenance, and then the last is you can talk to a counselor. So to summarize this module, we talked about the definition of stress. We talked about the different types and levels of stress. We know how to control the stress levels and what are the benefits of controlling these stress levels, and the benefits of virtual platform in speciality because of this pandemic COVID-19, and how the people are doing a better job spending more time on the work when they are actually involved in work from home. How the work from home is better as compared to an office where the productivity has gone up by almost 30%. Thank you.